welcome back to my channel. Want to host your first webinar but have no idea where and how to start? In this webinar tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you how to host a webinar online, including tips on how to host your first webinar. If you've been looking for a webinar tech tutorial on how to do your first webinar, stay tuned until the end of this video to get a complete webinar training with everything you need to know about how to create a webinar even as a beginner, and to get my webinar sales funnel template that'll help you boost your webinar sign-up rate, increase the number of people who show up live, and skyrocket your sales. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified every time I post a new video. With that said, let's go ahead and jump right in. There are 3 tools that you need to host your first webinar: an email marketing platform, I use ConvertKit, a place where you can create your webinar pages, which can be your website, or another platform, I use Leadpages for that, and a place to host your live webinar video, which can either be YouTube, which is free and is what I personally use, or you can use specific webinar software, such as GoToWebinar, Webinar Jam, or even Zoom. The first thing we'll do is head over to ConvertKit, which you can try out for free by clicking on the link in the description box below, and create a form for a webinar. To create a form in ConvertKit, head over to the Landing Pages and Forms tab, and click on the red Create New button. When asked how do you want to gather subscribers, click on Form. For the display format, select Inline, and for the template, select Claire. Since we'll be using buttons and pop-ups in Leadpages to get people to sign up for a webinar, the appearance of the webinar form here in ConvertKit is irrelevant. Click on the pencil next to where it says Claire Form to rename your form to your webinar's name. And then click on the email icon and toggle the Send Incentive box so that it's off. Once you're done, press Save up top. Now let's head over to the Sequences tab and click on New Sequence to create an email that'll be sent out immediately after someone signs up for a webinar. Name that sequence the name of the webinar, and then click on Create Sequence. Change the status of the sequence from draft to active, and the time to send from after 1 day to immediately. Edit the email subject and content, and then click on Save All. If you want a 90% done-for-you, step-by-step template with the exact subject lines, email structure, and copy that you need to create epic webinar sales funnels, click on the link in the description box below to get the webinar sales funnel template. With this template in hand, you'll know everything you need to write in your emails the days before, the days of, and the days after your webinar is over to skyrocket your webinar sales. For a sneak peek of what's included in the webinar sales funnel template, make sure to watch its promo video by clicking on the link in the description box below. Back in ConvertKit, let's also create another sequence that'll house the webinar replay emails as well as the pitch emails. Just like we did before, in the Sequences tab, click on New Sequence.
Name that sequence the name of your webinar plus replay and pitch.
And then click on Create Sequence. Change the status of the first email from draft to active, and the time to send from after 1 day to immediately. And then make sure that any other emails you send out will be scheduled for 1 day after the previous email. Once you're done making edits, go ahead and click on Save All. What we need to do now is create an automation so that those who sign up for a webinar automatically receive the welcome email and are tagged as webinar registrants, and then receive the replay link and pitch emails once the webinar is over. To do so, click on the Automations tab up top, then on the red New Automation button, and lastly on Create Automation. The first event is when someone signs up for a webinar. So select Joins a Form, choose your webinar form, and then click on Add Event. The second step is to tag those who sign up for a webinar as webinar registrants. Click on the plus sign below the first event, and under the Action tab, click on Add or Remove Tag. Make sure that the Add Tag option is selected. Start typing in Registered and your webinar's title to create a new tag. And then click on Add Action. To have our webinar registrants receive the welcome email automatically after they sign up, click on the plus sign below the second event, and under the Action tab, click on Email Sequence. Search for the welcome email sequence you created, and then click on Add Action. What we now want to create is an automation that automatically sends our webinar participants the webinar link and pitch emails once the webinar is over. Again, click on the plus sign below the third event, and under the Event tab, click on Date Occurs. If you wish to send the webinar replay and pitch emails right after the webinar is over, select the date and time when the webinar is supposed to end, and then click on Add Event. If you wish to send the webinar replay and pitch emails after a specific number of hours or days after the webinar is over, select the day and time of your webinar, then click on Add Event, and add an action as the next step, which is a delay of how many hours or days that you wish. And then click on Add Action. The last step in this automation is to actually add the webinar replay and pitch sequence. Click on the plus sign, and under the Action tab, click on Email Sequence. Search for the webinar replay and pitch sequence you created, and then click on Add Action. Again, if you want a 90% done-for-you step-by-step template, which includes everything you need to write in your emails the days before, the day of, and the day after your webinar is over, make sure to get my webinar sales funnel template by clicking on the link in the description box below. Now that we've created our webinar sign-up form, tags, sequences, and automations, it's time to create the webinar pages over in Leadpages. If you don't have a Leadpages account yet, you can try it out for free by clicking on the link in the description box below. There are 4 pages we need to create: the webinar registration page, the webinar thank you page, the webinar live page, and the webinar replay page. In Leadpages, under the Landing Pages tab, click on the blue Create New Landing Page on the right. Under What would you like your landing page to do, click on Browse All Templates at the bottom. The cool thing is that Leadpages already has a number of webinar templates that you can use and customize. From this drop-down menu that says All Types, scroll all the way down and select Webinar or Virtual Event. To edit any of these templates to make them your webinar registration page, hover your mouse over the template you wish to edit, click on View, and then on Use this template up top. Name your page, and then press Continue. you can place your cursor over any element to edit it, duplicate it, move it, or delete it altogether. You can also use the left-hand side panel to make further customizations to the webinar registration page. Under Layout, you can reorder page elements, delete them, duplicate them, hide or show them, and edit specific section settings. Under Widgets, you can add new elements. Under Styles, you can edit your page's font styles, background, width, favicon, and custom CSS. Under Settings, you can edit your page's SEO, social, and analytics settings. After you've edited this webinar registration page to look the way you wish with your own brand, font, and colors, images, and webinar description, make sure to click on this Claim Your Spot button to link it to your email marketing platform. To do so, click on it, then on the link icon, and then on Edit next to where it says My Leadbox 1. Just like with your general webinar registration page, you can place your cursor over any element to edit it, duplicate it, move it, or delete it altogether, as well as add new elements to the pop-up from the pop-up widget section on the left-hand side panel. To link this form to your email marketing platform, click on Save My Spot, and then follow the steps that appear on the left to edit this form. Name your form, click on Add an Integration to connect your email marketing platform to Leadpages, and then select the webinar form you created in ConvertKit from the drop-down menu. If you wish to receive an email every time someone signs up for your webinar, leave this lead notifications integration there as well. If not, feel free to delete it. Select whether you wish to enable bot or spam protection, and then click on Next Fields. Choose what information you want from your visitors. Let's leave email and click on Add a Field to include a first name option as well. You can edit the field's label, placeholder text, include a default value and URL mapping, select whether this field is required or not, add an optional custom validation message, and select whether this is a hidden field or not, and then press Done. You can click on the arrows on the left of the field settings to reorder them, as well as edit their appearance by clicking directly on the fields in the pop-up. Once you're done making edits, click on Next Actions. Right now, we're going to save and close the form settings, but we'll come back to it in a while after we create our webinar thank you page so that our visitors are automatically redirected to that page after they sign up for the webinar. To publish this webinar registration page, click on the blue Publish button on the top right-hand side, change the page's slug if you so wish, and then click on Publish once more. To create the webinar thank you page, follow the same steps as before to get to the Leadpages landing page templates page, and then select Thank You from the drop-down menu. To edit any of these templates to make them your webinar thank you page, hover your mouse over the template you wish to edit, click on View, and then on Use this template up top. Name your page, and then press Continue. Make as many edits to this page as you wish, and once you're done, click on the blue Publish button on the top right-hand side. Change the page's slug if you so wish, and then click on Publish once more. To link the webinar registration page to the webinar thank you page, click on Edit next to your webinar registration page, follow the same steps as before to open up the form settings. Click on Next until you reach the action step. Select Landing Page, choose your webinar thank you page, and then click on Save and Close. Remember to click on the blue Update button on the top right-hand side to make your changes active. To create the webinar live page, follow the same steps as before to get to the webinar templates page. Scroll down and click on View by hovering over the webinar replay template. Click on Use this template up top, name your page, and then press Continue. Since this is a webinar live page and not a webinar replay page, click on Layout from the left-hand side panel, on the arrow next to the Hero section, on the arrow next to Row 1, and delete columns 1, 3, and 4. To delete the countdown timer and extra spaces, rename the text so that it's the name of your webinar, centralize it, and delete the section that says when the webinar replay will be removed, as well as the social share icons. Now we're going to set up this page to add a chat box. Click on Widgets from the left-hand side panel and drag and drop the HTML widget so it's on the right-hand side of the video. Use the arrows between the video and HTML section to resize the video so that its section is bigger, but that the HTML section is also apparent. To create our chat box, head over to a website called tlk.io, scroll down until you reach the Embed section, and click on Get Embed Code. Rename the channel name so that it's your webinar's name. Change the height to 100%, change the theme to minimal, and then copy the code. Back in our webinar live page on Lead Pages, click on the HTML widget, paste the chat box code in the space provided, and then press Save. On the same page, click on the Click Here to Buy Now button, and then on the link icon. Remove the lead box pop-up and add a link to an external URL that links to your product or services checkout page that you'll be pitching at the end of the webinar, and then press Save. The last thing that's left to customize this webinar live page is to add the video embed code from our webinar to this video section. Since I used YouTube to create the video, I'll go ahead and copy the video's code from there. If you don't know how to create a webinar live video on YouTube, make sure to watch my video on how to create a webinar for free. The link to it is in the description box below. To get the video's embed link on YouTube, head over to your channel's page, click on the video camera up top, and then on Go Live. Click on the Manage tab, and then on your upcoming webinar's title. Click on Share, and then on Embed. Toggle the Show Player Controls option so that it's off, and then copy the code that appears. Back in our webinar live page on Lead Pages, click on the Video widget, paste the live webinar video code in the space provided, and then press Save. Make any other edits to this page as you wish, and once you're done, click on the blue Publish button on the top right-hand side. Change the page's slug if you so wish, and then click on Publish once more. To create the webinar replay page, follow the same steps as before to get to the webinar templates page, scroll down, and click on View by hovering over the webinar replay template. Click on Use this template up top, name your page, and then press Continue. Paste the exact same code from the live webinar video to the video section of the webinar replay page by clicking on it, pasting the live webinar video code in the space provided, and then pressing Save. Just as before, make any other edits to this page as you wish, and once you're done, click on the blue Publish button on the top right-hand side. Change the page's slug if you so wish, and then click on Publish once more. To get the webinar links to both promote your webinar and to add the webinar live page and webinar replay page links to your email sequence in ConvertKit, click on the three little dots next to the webinar page you want to get the link of, Publishing Options, and then copy the link. Once you're ready to go live, on the day and time of your webinar, just as we did before, on YouTube, click on the camera icon on the top right-hand side and then on Go Live. Click on Manage and then click on top of your webinar's title. Click on Go Live and in a few seconds, you'll be broadcasting your webinar live to all attendees. My next video is on how to get people to register for your webinar, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when that goes live. Now you know how to host your first webinar step by step. As promised, to take your webinar efforts to the next level, to boost your webinar sign-up rate, increase the number of people who show up live, and skyrocket your sales, make sure to get my webinar sales funnel template by clicking on the link in the description box below. So, what will your first webinar be about? I'd love to hear your answer and start a conversation in the comments below. And remember to click on the link in the description box below to get my webinar sales funnel template. If you're new around here, hi, I'm Marina Motai from Yes2Tech, and I'd love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed and want to be notified every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:45 a.m. Eastern, just click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll be notified every single time I post. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I'll see you in my next video.